Part 5. The doors want in. The bangs from the garage weren't settling anymore. They were testing, not the random groan of an old structure, but a deliberate percussion, like knuckles rapping on bone bleached white by years in the cold ground. Each thud resonated not just through the wood frame, but through the quiet desperation Arthur felt clinging to him like the scent of decaying leaves clinging to wet stone. He'd spent the morning attempting to explain Kierkegaard's leap of faith to Leo, who was simultaneously battling digital orcs in VR, barely acknowledging his father beyond grunted affirmations. The virtual world offered Leo a clean certainty, a logic the real one increasingly lacked. Arthur suspected it wasn't escape Leo sought, but control, a world sculpted to his specifications. Unlike this rambling house and its stubbornly enigmatic garage, was this leap of faith merely a surrender to the absurd? He wondered, or a necessary defiance against it. And which was more terrifying? Eleanor moved through the kitchen like a shadow passing through her routines. She'd always prided herself on calculated choices, each step on her career ladder meticulously planned. Now, stirring sugar into her tea felt like a small act of rebellion against the larger architecture of her life. A life that had traded moments with Clara for billable hours, shared dinners for partner meetings. Had she chased ambition or simply mistaken its gilded cage for freedom? The chipped porcelain of her mug felt cool against her palm, a subtle echo of the jester guarding the garage door. A jester who seemed to know exactly which choices tasted most like ash, or perhaps just which illusions allowed the ash to be swallowed easily. Clara, sensing her mother's quiet melancholy, drew incessantly. Gestures populated her sketchbook now, no longer whimsical figures, but mournful beings with eyes that mirrored Eleanor's subdued sadness. She insisted on throwing a smooth gray stone into Lake Michigan after lunch, a small offering to the water people, she said, and watched it disappear with the solemnity usually reserved for funerals. When it surfaced briefly, trailing bubbles, she swore she saw a jester cart floating beside it, the painted face laughing maniacally at their futile attempts at peace. "They know we're pretending," she murmured once, tracing the jester's grin with a charcoal-stained finger. "They know what we've lost." The lake itself held a deceptive stillness today, a sheet of polished obsidian reflecting the bruised sky. It promised escape and oblivion in equal measure, freedom that was both exhilarating and terrifying. Arthur found himself drawn to its edge, imagining sinking into its cool depths and leaving behind the weight of expectation, the crumbling facade of his carefully constructed life. The water tasted faintly metallic today, like old pennies and forgotten promises, when Clara splashed him playfully. Inside the garage, Leo claimed his VR avatar was mirroring the unsettling events unfolding in real life. A glitch he'd initially dismissed as standard coding Cork now felt intentional. He hadn't just noticed it, he'd tested it, deliberately replicating gestures from reality within the game and watching his avatar mimic them flawlessly. His digital forest began to warp and twist alongside the shadowy movements he glimpsed from the corner of his eye while tinkering with his headset. He'd been fighting off goblin hordes when his avatar stumbled upon a miniature version of their garage, complete with flickering fluorescent light and a jester card pinned to its warped wooden door. Was this escape or enclosure? Another layer added to an already complex illusion? Arthur spent hours researching local folklore at the library in Hemlock. Old lumberjack journals spoke of the spirit of the wood, demanding respect for its dominion. Loggers who mocked its power, who boasted too loudly of their efficiency and control. disappeared without trace. The spirit favored subtlety at first, misplaced tools, unsettling noises, but escalated to full-blown hauntings when truly provoked. Grandma Vivian had hinted at it during dinner last night. "The land remembers," she'd said with knowing eyes, "and it doesn't forget those who forget it." She hadn't simply stated it, she delivered it. A pronouncement imbued with centuries of observation and a quiet amusement that bordered on pity. Tonight, Arthur woke convinced someone had tried opening Leo's door while he slept. He hadn't heard a creak or even a distinct footstep, just a sense of pressure against the wood, as if something wanted in. He found Leo staring blankly at the ceiling, clutching his VR controller like a talisman against unseen forces. Plastic casing flick with sweat. Then he found it. Another Jester card tucked beneath an old family photograph in the garage. Eleanor as a young woman, poised on the cusp of law school graduation. A different path shimmering just beyond her reach. The card showed a Jester pointing accusingly at Eleanor's head as if saying, "You could have been." Its painted smile somehow both mocking and melancholy. Arguments erupted over breakfast. Should they stay? Should they leave? Eleanor accused Arthur of dragging them all to this isolated retreat to escape his looming tenure review. Her voice tight with an unspoken resentment that tasted like stale coffee. He countered that she was projecting her own anxieties onto him, that this retreat was as much about reconnecting with Clara as escaping academic politics. Leo retreated further into VR. Clara continued sketching her sorrowful gestures. Grandma Vivian observed them all with an amused detachment that bordered on condescension, her silence more cutting than any accusation. The garage felt less like storage now and more like a breathing entity, ancient, impatient, and filled with judgment. It smelled not just of dust and gasoline, but also something older, something akin to damp earth and forgotten roots, a scent that evoked both comfort and dread. The doors didn't just want to open. They wanted in, into their lives, into their minds, into their carefully constructed illusions. They wanted to unravel what had been so painstakingly woven together, to reveal what lay beneath the surface of their comfortable discontentment, and perhaps finally force them to confront what they had been avoiding for so long. The Jester laughed silently amidst it all, a sound only Clara seemed able to hear clearly, a sound that promised not destruction but revelation.